Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm delighted to welcome Daisy Woods, model through Mummy, if you are going to be searching for Daisy after this awesome interview, and it certainly will be. And Daisy, just to give a very quick overview, Daisy Woods I came across on TikTok actually, and I thought as soon as I went onto your page, looked at you on Instagram, I thought, got to get Daisy on the channel. So Daisy, thank you so much for joining me, and if we could maybe just kickstart this with who you are and what you do.
Oh, thanks so much, Erin. Thanks for having me. So I am a mum of two little boys. I live in Bristol, and I introduce myself as a stay-at-home mum because that is my main focus. But in the last year, I've also been creating content on TikTok, which went from being a hobby to now being my full-time career, I guess. But yeah, so that's kind of who I am in a nutshell.
Awesome. Well, like I say, I came across you on TikTok, and I know that, balancing family life with content creation, trying to do well on social media, trying to take advantage of the opportunities that we've got, especially as, to set up social media is a free resource, and, so much can come from it. I just knew that I had to have you on the channel because I knew that many would relate. So just talk to me a little bit about, to kick this off. You've done very well on TikTok. Again, what I'll do is at some point during the video, I'll pop up your page, but it's 172,000 followers and 14 million likes, which is huge when it comes to impressions and your reach to other people to have an impact on. How did this actually start, the journey?
I mean, it's just really bizarre to me, even to hear that. That's not something that I ever thought would happen. Also, it wasn't what I really set out to achieve. I, like most people, sort of discovered TikTok during lockdown. My friend Laura, funnily enough, suggested to me, she was like, mate, I'm on this app and I think you'll love it. It's right up your street. And I was a bit unsure because I think, like most people, I had this perception of TikTok because obviously it used to be Musical.ly, that it was, teenagers lip syncing and doing all these like funny moves. And actually it's grown from that so much. And there is a massive community of mums on there. So once I sort of made the leap and downloaded it, I very quickly became hooked. And it was just for fun. It was a lockdown hobby that I just randomly found was a real niche calling for me that I would never have expected. I'm not entirely surprised that I've just found it quite natural and a really easy thing to incorporate into my life, because I've been doing Instagram stories since my eldest was born. Now, Instagram stories, and I think this is the reason that my Instagram is still a relatively low following, is because Instagram doesn't push stories in the same way as it does things like Reels and your grid posts. And as somebody who is a busy mum and trying to juggle everything, just being able to pick up my camera and literally film myself and not having to worry about editing or anything like that, that's why Instagram stories worked for me. So yeah, it just kind of evolved from there. And then it's become this much bigger thing, which, yeah, like I said, now is pretty much a full-time career for me. But I still love doing it just as much as when I started out as a hobby.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, I love stories like this because, we all go to school, we all learn geography. No one who needs to know where, some country is and stuff like that. And we learn all these things, and lo and behold, 20 years later, we're sitting in front of a camera doing, 30-second clips, and you can make a career out of it. So it's insane, the opportunities that you get from such things like TikTok and, all these up and coming apps and stuff like that. A lot of businesses, because essentially, although it's good fun, it's social media, essentially it is a business to some degree, and you can grow it and scale it. A lot of these stories happened during lockdown. So, it was like a real opportunity for people to sort of take on these new exciting ventures and hopefully grow from it. How long did it take you, so people can kind of, vision this in the sense of a time frame? How long did it take you to go from 0 to 172k followers?
I mean, it's been the weirdest, fastest year of my life. I think also because we've been renovating our house and, you know, just life with little ones, time seems to just speed up when you have kids. So, yeah, I have no idea. It feels like it kind of just happened, but also I've been working really hard at it for the past year. So I downloaded TikTok in January 20. I'm trying to think, was it 2020 or 2021? It would have been 2021, I think. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, so I downloaded it into the January, and then I joined the Creator Fund in the March. So it would have taken me, 3 months to grow to 10,000. And that, I think, even just getting to the first 1,000, it felt like it took a long time, but then it sort of snowballs a little bit. And then, just the consistency over the past year, now you sort of see that more consistent growth. It's just really, it blows my mind even to think about. I can't even imagine talking to 172,000 people. So
it's crazy. So you hit on a very important word there, which I think is a big takeaway from anyone, is consistency. You know, like in anything that, you know, people are looking at wanting to do, TikTok or YouTube, whatever it is literally consistency is like one of the biggest factors, you know, to keep on going and let the compound effect happen. You have to be, I think I like to put it down to three things: routine, structure, I suppose routine and structure come in hand, but consistency is also a huge part of it. So, you know, what was I'll tell you what, let's start with, what do you think was the turning point in allowing your channel to grow in the sense of what you were posting? So what do you think worked well? So was there something that you were like, okay, this is getting a lot of views, I need to do more of this?
So I am coming into this from quite a, I guess, advantaged point of view. I have an advertising marketing degree, and pre maternity leave, I worked at global advertising agencies, and I'm used to being on the other side of this. So working for brands, managing brands' social media and helping them grow their presence. So obviously I'm coming into this with that experience and knowledge, which I have definitely found really, really helpful. But for people who don't have any understanding of like a marketing field at all, the consistency that you were mentioning there really is the number one thing that I would share, is that just consistently posting and just showing up every day is the first step. I was talking to somebody the other day at a wedding who loves TikTok. She really wants to get into it, but I can see her holding herself back. And she said, oh, you know, I've got my videos up, but they're still set to private. And I was like, just start, just post one video. You never know how it's going to go. And very quickly, I think with that routine posting, you get into the groove of things and you see, right, okay, this feels natural and fun to me. This feels like I'm trying to be something I'm not, which I think people pick up on very quickly. And for me, you know, the lip syncing, it was fun at the beginning. And I still occasionally will do some of that now, but it's definitely not my natural go-to. And once I started sharing more about my sort of day-to-day life, relatable challenges that sit Hey Mum's face and things that I do that make my life easier, I saw the response to grow. And I think I had my first video go viral, whatever that even means. I think everyone, that's so subjective these days, but it was a lot more views than I had been used to, was in March. And I posted, I think it was 6 things I do to make my mornings less stressful. And it was picked up by The Sun, and then it was spread across various other news channels online. And it was when I shared that, I thought, oh, okay. So, and, you then start thinking back to my knowledge when I was working with clients, is that people are watching things for a specific reason. They want entertainment, or they want to be taking a piece of knowledge away, or it could just be pure escapism or something. And for me, I think sharing the relatable sides of motherhood, I know as a mum, when I watch that type of content, I take comfort in that I'm not the only person going through these things. And if there are very simple tips and tricks that I can take away, that's even better. So yeah, I think I've now found a range of content that really works and resonates with my audience. And so it's just a case of, each day coming up with new things and just sharing what I'm doing. It really doesn't have to be super difficult. And I think when people overthink content, that's when you were like, oh, I'm finding it difficult to post every day. If it's not coming naturally, then you're not going to have the consistency you need.
Yeah, I think a lot of people hold back from doing it. And like you said, I know people as well that I'm really trying to push to get their face out there. They might have a good business, or they're just starting, or they've got a lot of creativity, and it's just like, just get that first video done. Just start, because, every single one of us will always look back at our first video and be like, oh my God, was that actually me? Or, oh my God, do I delete it? And you think, no, actually, it's a part of the timeline. You can look back and see how far you come, and you can probably create like quite a nice video of look, the transition. So absolutely, for anyone watching, just get started. And Daisy's obviously living proof of, someone who gets started is now doing very well. Obviously, you touched on a couple of points. Just want to relay to the watchers is that relatable is so important, for people to watch someone and go, oh, actually, do you know what, that could be me? Or, I find a lot of, I can relate, I get them and stuff like that. And also value, like people do go to watch people for either humour, value, or like key information. So those are really important. And what I want to touch on actually is now going to more of the busy mummy side. There's a lot of people that will watch this that are family people and would love to do more, but obviously social platforms move so quick. Sometimes it's that feeling of overwhelm, sort of, I can't keep up. But as a busy mum, have you found a set structure that works for you? Do you batch things? Do you film on one day? How do you work your everyday around content creation?
Well, I mean, obviously as mum, my first and main focus always is my boys. So the whole reason I really wanted to pursue this was in order to give me the flexibility to be at home for them around, school, nursery, things like that. If I had to go back to my office job, I would almost never see them. And I just couldn't bear the thought of that. So that drive really pushed me to make space in our day. And I think that's the thing with anything in life that I've been passionate about. I think it was Beyonce who said about the hours in the day, right? Everyone's got the same amount of hours in the day. And that can be really triggering to hear because, being a mum is so all consuming. There's so much to do constantly. And there's an element of prioritizing and something is always going to have to give. And for me, unfortunately, it's chill time. I don't have chill time, and I'm not recommending this to people to do because I've definitely experienced mum burnout in my life. In my recent life as well, I actually developed something called guttate psoriasis, which if you scroll down on my Instagram feed, you'll see me just sharing very, very openly about. And it was where I had completely put aside my self-care and things like this, which I'm still trying to get better at. But if you just start doing something, a new behavior, it won't become routine unless you do it over and over. I think if you Google how long it takes to turn a behavior into a new habit, it's like 2 months or something. You have to do it all the time. So I knew that I wanted to be able to make this content. So I just started finding time in my evening to begin with, because it was before my son had started nursery. My youngest son, he was 1 at the time when I started filming, and I just started. I sort of gave up that sitting on the sofa scrolling time in the evening, and I started filming things, and then I would sort of edit and do captions and stuff on the evening, and then I had my content for the next day. Obviously now I've sort of refined it a bit, and now he does go to nursery, I have far more dedicated time to do this. But yeah, it's just going, I want this, I can see something that's going to provide the lifestyle that I want for myself and my family, and I'm going to go for it. And that, I think, was the main thing. But that goes for anything in motherhood. If you want to Yeah, of course, if you want to start a new business, but if you want to create better fitness goals or something like that, you have to make space, and you have to sacrifice something. And yeah, unfortunately also, I'm terrible at replying to people on WhatsApp. my friends are very good at being understanding about that, but there's something always has to give.
Yeah, it's a real balance, isn't it? Like, you have to find time. Like, I know not everyone wants to hear that, and people do have their own hurdles to jump through most days and stuff like that. But it's like with me with YouTube. I have to batch, like Thursday. We're on Friday. We moved it. I was thinking yesterday, but I was thinking, yeah, because we originally I said about Thursday, but is that I have to batch, because you have to make your time work for you, and you really have to leverage it. So, and you do find, if you want it, I think you hit on a really important point. If you want it enough, that that's so important. We always hear this, is that a lot of people would love the outcome, but it's very hard to get there, and not a lot of people want to do that journey. And it is a journey, because you might grow quick, you might grow slow. If you don't mind me touching on the income side of it, the actual possibilities of kind of, what this can provide as a lifestyle. Is this, where you're at now, is this kind of replacing full-time job? Can this be that new income for you?
So I'm always cautious. Let's call it hopefully optimistic. I have never been self-employed before. I am a very cautious person when it comes to money. I'm a natural saver, which balances my husband out, because he's more of the risk taker, and he is self-employed. He's been self-employed for pretty much the last 10 years. And he works incredibly hard. So when I was on maternity leave, he really was showing up for our family, and we were able to survive on one income. But he also experienced, as somebody who runs his own company, that uncertainty each month of, are we going to be able to pay our bills every month? How's this going to work? And that was an enormous amount of pressure. So whilst I was so grateful to be able to be at home for my kids for the 3 years that I was, I knew that I wanted to be able to help provide towards the family income. So when I started thinking about going back to work, and I'll be very open, my last job I left on was 30,000 a year as a full-time comms manager. I just was thinking, okay, if I can make that sort of income, I know that I can make it work, but I don't want to have to put my 1-year-old into full-time childcare. Okay, so how can I make this work? The Creator Fund is not the main source of income that I think some people assume it is. It is a matter of pence per 1,000 views. If you were trying to rely on that as your income, that would not be possible. But now I'm at a stage where, like I said, I'm hopefully optimistic every month that we will be able to pay our bills. My husband, I know, is so grateful not to have that all-encompassing pressure of being the main breadwinner anymore. And yeah, I'm giving him a run for his money. So I'm so grateful at the opportunities that I've been presented with. I'm so excited about some of the brands that I've been working with, and I'm due to be working with. But there is that massive uncertainty every month, and that I'm not used to yet.
No, that's it. Well, look, you're doing very well at it. And like you say, I also know that, as you grow and you get bigger, and for anyone watching this, there are those external opportunities, sponsorships, collaborations, and obviously they all bring in new ways of income. How long did it take you to get monetized? Because for YouTube, it's very different. You have to hit the threshold of 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, which is quite a high threshold. It's actually a lot harder than what you think. Took me around about 15 months. What's the process for TikTok and monetization?
So from what I understand, they open the Creator Fund option for you when you hit 10,000 followers. So as I mentioned, I started TikTok in January, and by March I had hit 10,000. Now, I think, to to be honest with you, from what I hear from other people like me. I imagine if you're, sort of that cool, very wide appeal personality, like, for example, Eden, she does so well on TikTok. If you have wider appeal like that, maybe it would be quicker for you. I still think 3 months is quite quick. So you've really got to manage your expectations. And that is with posting multiple times every single day, 7 days a week. So it took me 3 months to get there. And then March to September, I was just plugging away. Again, it was still really just my hobby at that point. And it wasn't until September, which would have been, I guess, I can't do the maths on top of my head, but between March and September, that's when it started being, okay, I could actually, this could be an income. And then, December was my biggest month. And it's just continuing from there. But I never take anything for granted. I think that you can't ever just think, right, okay, this is now my job, because it is a worry every month, if you don't have certain things in the pipeline. Everything could stop tomorrow, right? The platform could go down, and then where are we?
Yeah, I think that, again, this is like a really important point to touch on, because I suppose a lot of people are blinded by thinking, once I've achieved this, that's it, I can quit my job, I can go on, happy days. But actually keeping multiple streams of income, having a safety net. What are you like? Well, actually, this is a question I wasn't going to ask, but I think it'd be a good one to ask. Is what are you like with money management? And is that importance for you? Like you said, you've always been a saver. Similar to myself, I always like having that bit of comfort in the background, just in case things were to collapse or things were to go down. You've got a buffer. I suppose that's important to touch on for other people watching this, is that if they do start generating funds, it's really important to keep that safety net always in the background as well.
Definitely. So from a young age, my parents, particularly my dad, has drilled into me about the importance of saving for your future, having this rainy day fund. And I would love to tell you that I have always followed that advice. With this specific situation, I haven't been able to, because every penny we've had has been going into buying our house and now renovating it. I don't follow exactly what I'm saying, but I in an ideal world, I would have had 3, 6, even 12 months income worth of my expenses set aside before I made the leap. Obviously, I was coming at this from a very privileged position of, I was already on maternity leave. I didn't have to make that call of going, right, I'm going to quit an office job. I was doing some freelance consultancy work. And luckily, the timings of that kind of overlapped quite nicely between my main client was actually my brother-in-law's small business, Rocket Jack. So that kind of eased off as TikTok started going a bit heavier for me. So it worked nicely. But had I had to make the call of when to leave my job, I'm not sure I would have even done it yet, purely just because of that uncertainty of being able to, pay your bills every month and not having the rainy day fund that I wish I had right now.
Yeah, I think it's, I can't remember the individual. It's someone that I know, but I've heard a few people say it. But there was this one individual that said 6 months, is that when you think you're in a position to quit your job and you're like, right, this is the moment. That individual said, stay for another 6 months. Just do another 6 months. Because when you're at your moment of thinking, right, I'm good to go, anything can happen. So just build up an addition. There's nothing wrong in building up more savings or more buffer, a rainy day fund, whatever you want to call it, and stuff like that, just to support you. As we sort of come to a close, I've loved this episode. Has there been anything in your life that has been a real change for you, like a book that you've read, self-development book, a business book, a YouTube video, or someone you've ever listened to, or something like that? Has there any been where it's always stuck with you and you'd go back to it?
Well, I think I would love to share, this is the book that has all the answers. I have watched a lot of content on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram Reels. And it's just, I think, a culmination of that. And if you ever want to teach yourself something, there isn't something that you can't learn on those platforms. And I think the main thing to know is that you've really got to stay true to who you are. And unfortunately, when you're doing well, people want to pull you down always. And if you can block that out and just carry on doing it anyway, that's the best thing. I don't think anyone can teach you how to be yourself. And if you're yourself on TikTok, particularly, I think that's going to be your greatest asset. And it's not something that I've just been able to instantly do. Of course, everybody listens to what people say. And especially when, as a busy mum, I'm having to just pick up the camera. I don't usually have a full face of makeup. I rarely have my hair done. I'm wearing just my normal clothes. I'm not setting myself up in front of a mirror, making myself beautiful to film myself. It is unedited. And I think that being relatable is what has helped me, because people can see that I'm not trying to put on a front. It isn't that I read a book and I was like, okay, so just make yourself look like you've rolled out of bed, then get the camera on and just talk about your day. Do you know what I mean? You've just got to do whatever works for you. And I think that's where the Muddling Through Mummy sort of name came from, was that I am literally just doing the best I can with the resources I've got and the limited time I've got, and trying to be involved in a platform that I'm really excited about. TikTok. I think it is I think it is now the number one performing social media app, unless you're going to edit that off if I'm wrong.
Well, yeah, I think it's doing pretty well. And, if anyone listens to Gary Vee, I mean, I like Gary Vee. I don't listen to everything he says, but he says that obviously TikTok is the place where you want to be at right now. And I'm going to put you on the spot. If you had to say to someone right now who's about to start TikTok, what would be the 3 top tips that you would say to try and make it a success?
Okay, consistency. Post every day, every single day. If you're starting out, more is better. I started on sort of 5. I'm now on about 3 posts a day. Number 2 is just show up. Make that first step. For me, it was turning my Instagram from private to public. And I had a lot of fears about, people are going to think I'm trying to be something I'm not. Just do it. Just do that first step. And number 3 is, and I guess this carries on from my second point, but it's just, why as a society are we so good at cheering on our friends, championing our friends? But we can't ever just go, you know what, I can see this, I want to do it. I can do it. I'm going to just high-fiving yourself and carrying on. We have this internal argument with ourselves. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. What will people think? And you've just got to believe in yourself and just run with it. Because what if actually it all worked out? What if this became something that was amazing and bigger and better than you ever thought it could be? I think we're all capable. And I think, it's just having that confidence and going, I'm not going to listen to what anyone else is saying. I'm going to just be me, show up as me, and hope for the best.
I couldn't agree more. I think one of the things that always pushes me through is not living with regret. I'd hate to get 6 months, 12 months, a few years down the line and think, I could have been somewhere where I'm not now.
Why didn't I do it?
Why didn't I do it? Because what's going to happen? And, for me, I'm not bothered about what other people think. You literally get one chance, and not the whole YOLO thingy. I can't stand that acronym and that, but, it is very true. You only get one chance. Daisy, I've absolutely loved this episode. I know other people are going to really enjoy it. There's so many good takeaways. I'd love to do something again in the future, because I think there's a million other things we could have touched on which people could benefit from. And is there anywhere you'd like to, obviously we shared at the beginning, and I'll include the links in the description, but where can people reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on Instagram or TikTok at Muddle Through Mummy, and I'm always interested to hear from new people and just communicate. That's the whole reason I started. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop into my DMs on Instagram, and definitely give me a follow on TikTok.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Daisy, thanks so much for joining me, and for everyone that's watched, we'll see you all very soon.